Hello everybody, welcome back to a new session. It is more about the parallelograms. Regarding parallelograms, we have two parts. Number one, theorems which states the properties of parallelograms, and second one is facts about the parallelogram which defines that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Let us see one by one. What is a parallelogram first of all? A parallelogram is a quadrilateral because it has four sides. And when do we say that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram? The minimum condition is both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. By the word parallelogram, it is here itself. Parallelogram, opposite sides should be parallel, not one, both of them. So let us see the cases one by one. We say this is a parallelogram because opposite sides are parallel. First pair, second pair. These are parallel, and this is the way how you can notate they are parallel. Now what about this? Yes, this is a rectangle, but is it a parallelogram? Definitely, because in a rectangle, opposite sides are parallel. So this is also a parallelogram. What about a rhombus? It is also a parallelogram because the reason is the same. Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. What about a square? The same reason, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So a square is also a parallelogram. What about a kite? Is it a parallelogram? No, because in a kite, no sides are parallel. So this is not a parallelogram. What about a trapezium? Is it a parallelogram? No. In a trapezium, only one pair of opposite sides are parallel. So this is not a parallelogram. Let us see more. Properties of parallelogram. In a parallelogram, both pairs of opposite sides are equal. Not only parallel, they are also equal. Not all sides, opposite sides are equal. So if this is 10 centimeters, this should be 10 centimeters, and this side can be anything. Let us say this is 7, so this must also be 7 centimeters. Second property is both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. That is the basic condition. Third property, both pairs of opposite angles are equal, and to be specific, you will have opposite angles, two acute angles and two obtuse angles. What if one of them is right angle? Then it changes to be a rectangle. So in general, we have in a parallelogram two acute angles and two obtuse angles. If all of them are 90 degrees, that is also a parallelogram, but specifically it will be a rectangle. Two consecutive angles are supplementary. This is based on the property of parallel sides. So you know that this side is parallel to this side. So we can say that same side interior angles. So this angle, for example, 110 and 70, it should be 180 degree. Not only that, the second part also we can say 70 and 110, they are 180 degree. So any two adjacent sides when you take, it will be 180 degree. And you know that supplementary means 180 degree. Moving on to more details about parallelogram. Diagonals bisect each other. Bisect means cut into two equal parts. If this is 11 centimeters, that is also 11 centimeters. If this is 8 centimeters, that's also 8 centimeters. But the diagonals need not be equal by itself, but they are cut equally. Next property says that diagonal form two congruent triangles. Let us take only one diagonal. Then the first triangle here will be congruent to the second triangle. And if you take this other diagonal, then also we can get the third triangle will be congruent to the fourth triangle. Anyway, one diagonal cuts the parallelogram into two congruent triangles. Two acute angles and two obtuse angles are formed that we already discussed. So, but also one more condition, both the acute will be equal. If this is 80, this must also be 80 degree, and this must be, what angle should be this? Can you guess? Excellent. This should be 100 because total should be 180. So this should also be 180. Moving on to more details about parallelogram. When do we say that a quadrilateral is a parallelogram? When one pair of opposite sides are equal and parallel. Because when you have questions related to quadrilaterals, prove that this is a rectangle, or prove that it is a parallelogram or a rhombus or any other shape, basic shape that we follow is a parallelogram. So first we will try to prove that the given shape is a parallelogram. How? Just concentrate on any one pair of opposite sides. First to prove they are equal, and then prove they are parallel as well. This is enough to say that this shape is a parallelogram. You can choose any one of the opposite pairs. The next condition is when both pairs of opposite sides are equal. So if we can't prove anything about parallel, we can just prove both pairs are equal. These are equal and these are equal. Also, in this way, the given shape is a parallelogram. Now, one more condition is there. Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Remember, if you take one pair, it should be equal and parallel. But if you take both pairs, it can only be equal or it can only be parallel. That's what we have to be careful about. So if we take parallel, we have to take both sides at the same time. Opposite sides are parallel, then the given shape can be simply proved that this is a parallelogram. Moving on to further details, a parallelogram with any two adjacent sides. Adjacent means if you have a parallelogram, the nearby, which is close to each other. If you can prove that adjacent sides are equal, the whole shape turns to be a rhombus, because we have proved that opposite sides are equal. Now, if you can show that this is also equal, then this turns to be a rhombus, because then all the four sides will be equal. Such a shape is called rhombus. All right, moving on to the next one. A parallelogram with one angle 90 degree is rectangle. Of course, you know that a rectangle has four angles 90 degrees. But if one of them is 90 degree, by the property of parallelogram, opposite sides are equal, and adjacent sides should give you, adjacent angle should give you 180. So this is 90, 90, 90, 90. So basically we just need to prove that only one angle is 90 degree, then the shape turns to be a rectangle. Amazing. Moving on to the next one. A parallelogram is also a trapezium, because it is from the definition of trapezium. A trapezium is a quadrilateral with at least, careful, at least one pair of opposite sides are parallel. Yes, we can choose one of them. So this is a trapezium now. Now let's try to understand few parts which you have studied in smaller classes, how to find the area of a parallelogram. Area of a parallelogram can be found out by base times height. Height we have studied many times, it is the perpendicular distance. So we have to take the 90 degrees. So it can be inside the shape, or sometimes it can even be given outside, doesn't matter, but it should be 90 degree. So if this is 10 centimeters and if this is 20 centimeters, area of this shape is 20 times 10, which is equal to 200 if centimeter power 2. What about the perimeter? The word meaning of perimeter is add all the sides for any shape. Add all sides. So we have 20. Don't take 10 because 10 is the perpendicular height. So let's say this is 12. So perimeter will be 2 times 20 plus 12 plus 20 plus 12, or simply 20 plus 12 because 2 is outside, which will be 2 times 32, which is 64 centimeters. Well, if you are given a parallelogram with one of the angle is 75 degree, how can you find the rest of the angles? A very simple question. When you have opposite sides parallel, you know that same side interior angle is supplementary. So the second angle is 105, and directly the opposite angles are equal. This is 105 and this is 75. This is how you can find the missing angle. These are the basic information about parallelogram, which will help you to solve questions related to quadrilaterals. That's all for today. Hope the idea is clear. Keep watching the same properties again and again so that it will be perfect with you. That's all for today. Thank you.